Good morning, evening, and afternoon, everybody. Check it out. You are looking at a Atarka red deck for Battle for Zendikar Standard. This deck is quite powerful in its current iteration. It's, as in past Standard seasons, hanging in there as a metagame contender. And by that I mean like it's a tier 1 deck. At any rate, let's begin with the mana base. Because we are a aggro combo deck that relies on the Become Immense Temur Battle Rage combo, which we run as 3 ofs in the main, we do run 11 fetch lands. And that includes 3 Windswept Heaths, which really only have 3 targets in the 2 Cinderglades and the Singleton Forest. The Singleton Forest is kind of a sticking point. It's always a bummer when you encounter it in the game. And a 3rd Cinderglade might just be correct, even though sometimes it might be coming into play tapped and taking away from like your turn 2 Atarka's command with your 1 Swift Spear, which usually is not the correct play anyway. So, we've got 11 fetch lands. We've got 7 mountains, it looks like. Yeah, and then the Singleton Forest and the 2 Cinderglades. Pretty standard mono red or Atarka red mana base, although some only run the 10 fetch lands. 1-drops, let's begin with the removal package. We main deck the 3 Wild/2 Fiery Impulse, so it's basically 5 of for all of your spot removal needs with a little bit of reach in the form of Wild/. Also, Corner Cases Wild/, is ferocious. Comes up against like decks with Dromica's command, and they're trying to prevent damage from Atarka's command, for instance. Happened more in the previous season when you had more burn in the deck. Worth mentioning, though. Our 1-drops, 4 of Monastery Swiftspear, 3 of Zurgo Bellstriker, and we've got 2 Lightning Berserkers. I think Lightning Berserker is a really good card for anti-control and in slower matchups in general, and versus decks with a lot of sorcery speed removal, so white decks in the current format. Very valuable creature. Wish we could find room for more of her in the 75. Moving right along, we've got 3 of the combo piece previously mentioned. Some combination of double strike and trample on a creature with, 6, 7, 8, or 9 power. Ends games fairly quickly. Not much else to say about that. Atarka's command. Any card that sees Eternal play, you have to kind of know is inherently powerful. This is no exception. Atarka's command has 4 modes. All of them come up. Even the land from your hand onto the battlefield mode has some room to operate in the current format, which is cool. Most commonly, you're going to be pumping the team and burning, bolting the opponent with this, although can't gain life and land onto the battlefield are both very useful with the landfall mechanic and all the life gain that's running around. Now, the 2-drop slot in this deck includes 4 Abbot of Carol Keep, which is just a fantastic value card. And it has a certain amount of flexibility as a 2-drop or a 3-drop or as a slight card advantage play later in the game. So, your Abbot is good in many situations. No reason to ever go to less than 4 of him in this deck. Now, the 2-drop slot that may be unique here is McKindy Slide Runner over the token producer. Not Hordling Outburst. Dragon Fodder. McKindy Slide Runner has Trample, and that's 4 more creatures with pseudo evasion in the main deck. He doesn't put a card into the graveyard immediately to help delve out Become Immense as Dragon Fodder does. However, we are running the extra fetch land to both power up our slide runners more consistently, as well as act as Lotus Petals to power out our Become Immenses. I feel like McKindy Slide Runner is the correct call over the token producers, and I based this decision in deck building on a article from earlier in the season on Atarka Red by Frank Karsten. You can read that for more of his thoughts. 3 Hordling Outburst in the 3-drop slot is something I have not played a lot frequently. I've been more of a fan of the hasty flyer, the Flamewake Phoenix at 3. And that with, a Become Immense on turn 4 plus can do a lot of work. However, Hordling Outburst is great. You go wide, you set up situations where your opponent just can't block anything or everything, and then you can combo out relatively easily. So I like having it main board. So, moving on to the sideboard here. As you can see, we've got a couple deviations from the norm here. First, running 4 Rending Volley in the current standard is just smart. There's a long list of very serious threats that Rending Volley just cheaply, effectively, and without being able to be countered by spells or abilities, it just answers a lot. Same with Fiery Impulse. So between Fiery Impulse, Rending Volley, and Roast, we can swap, our removal package. Usually the Wild Slashes and at least 1 Titan Strength, because that's kind of a tertiary piece of the combo engine, or the combo, excuse me. Anyway, Roast kills, Tasigur kills Rhino. Always going to be a home for Roast in the current format. Both Chandra and Yasova are kind of my attempts to vary what's going on in the 3-drop slot. So we've got Yasova Dragonclaw and Chandra. Chandra is a different angle of attack for grindy matchups and versus control. Yasova is very good against all the mid-range decks running Woodland Wanderer, as well as Tasigur, as well as Siege Rhino, and even against green ramp decks, like if they land one of their mid-size Eldrazi's and you use the stealing, ability on Yasova. Anyway, very potent 3-drops, kind of vary it and try to fade token removal, which is very popular. Like, I guess Radiant Flame still hits Yasova, but Chandra, when she's flipped, it doesn't hit. The next card in the sideboard doesn't get hit by Radiant Flames. So, we're trying to fade what sideboard solutions we know people are packing to our deck. Thunderbreak Regent, maybe it's just me, I can't build a red deck without this card in this format. It's extremely potent threat. Just a Swiss Army knife. They can't, he's a sticky wicket. They can't remove it. Often they can't race it when it's getting Titan Strengthed and Atarka's commanded. So, yeah, I bring it in virtually against every deck that I just want to be a little slower and a little more potent against. So that includes other aggro decks, some of the white weenie decks that are running around. It matches up well against Mantis Rider. It matches up well against a lot of things in the format right now. So that's the 75 of Atarka Red as seen on Maximus Games, and I hope you found it insightful. And of course, tune in to see all of the standard SmackDown matches that play out with Atarka Red. I'm Max. As always, have fun, do well, and we will catch you next time on Maximus Games. All right, thank you.